Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Well, there is, as they've both been saying now, considerable alarm among many business people about the continued uncertainty, especially the possibility that the UK could leave the EU without a formal agreement. The Confederation of British Industry, along with the Trades Union Congress, have both said today that leaving without a deal would, in their view, be a national emergency. Our business correspondent, Emma Simpson, has been to Cardiff to find out what small businesses there are making of the options facing the UK right now.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Theresa May will ask EU leaders to postpone Brexit for 3 months.
This small catering company is following every Brexit twist and turn.
We decided instead of buying sandwiches, we would actually...
The boss told me an awful lot is riding on what the politicians finally deliver.
If we have a no deal, I really wouldn't like to say where we'll be in 3 months' time, or 4 months' time, or 5 months' time. I think we need to have stability. We need to know what's happening, and it may be that there are, that price rises will come down the horizon, whatever. But if all of a sudden there's mayhem, we can't pass it on, and we can't absorb it.
Across town, small businesses gather for advice on how to prepare for Brexit.
How would that affect your business?
So what's the mood here?
Hands up if your business is prepared for a no-deal Brexit. Okay, that's interesting. Hands up if you want a 3-month delay, but no more.
No more is the thing, not necessarily 3 months.
And finally, hands up if you're just completely fed up.
But a decision, that's what we're after.
Absolute chaos.
They don't have a plan. I don't know how we can have a plan.
Every business here is different. We caught up with Paul back at his plant. He makes metal casings and is about to spend £250,000 on new machinery, whatever happens.
We look at it not on Brexit as a whole as a positive, but I think we will try and take the positives from it. There is no point in lying awake worrying about Brexit.
Plenty of small business owners are worried, but what they all want is Brexit to be clear-cut and fast. Emma Simpson, BBC News, Cardiff.
As we heard, the trade unions and CBI joined forces today to warn that the UK is facing a national emergency. They have written to the Prime Minister demanding that a Plan B is drawn up to avoid a no-deal departure in 8 days' time. Carolyn Fairbairn, Director General of the Confederation of British Industry, and Francis O'Grady, the General Secretary of the TUC, are here in the studio. How big a national emergency? I mean, it's pretty rare for anyone to talk about a national, but for the two of you, how big?
Well, I think that we're hearing what a political crisis is. It's an economic crisis as well. I've been with businesses this week talking about their preparations for no deal. They are not ready. The impact on our economy of a no-deal Brexit would be a wrecking ball for ordinary people's lives. It's why we're here together. We're talking about people's jobs and lives. So the paramount importance now is to avoid no deal, and it will take compromise, leadership from the front, which is why we're here together today.
I mean, one of the issues here, which is rather sad in a way, because many of your members will have voted to leave, particularly in the north and the more deprived areas of the country. It's a very confusing picture.
We know that, in fact, a majority of people at work and 6 in 10 trade unionists voted Remain. But that means that we've got 40% who voted Leave. But I think what's important is that whichever way you voted, we don't want working people ending up having to pay the price for a mess that I think the Prime Minister has got to prioritise clearing up. And we've been very clear, rule out no deal, extend Article 50, but come up with and start listening to MPs who could command a majority around a different deal.
Do you believe that Theresa May is the right person to be managing this crisis, this national emergency?
I think she's shown, if I'm honest, a tin ear to concerns that have been expressed. She seems to be a broken record and keeps pushing a deal that suffered a historic defeat, a thumping defeat on the second round. I think she needs to know when to recognise that that deal is not going to get through. But she needs to start speaking up for the country as a whole, not just the European Research Group on her backbenches. But, you know, we've got people in Honda a week on Saturday demonstrating to defend their plant. I'm not saying Brexit's the whole story, but it's a big part of it. And that uncertainty is putting livelihoods at risk.
I mean, as Monsieur Macron suggested, the truth is it seems that she's battling to keep her party together rather than the country together.
Well, I think that the country has to now absolutely come first, and the red lines that have been laid out need to be revisited to be able to create
You know,
that
viewers
compromise.
won't remember what red lines are.
Well, they were in blood early on,
Mm.
and they have prevented a compromise being reached. Now, business has actually been absolutely clear that they want to make Brexit work. They are not trying to fight Brexit, but they are trying to create an environment where they can continue to trade, they can grow, they can succeed, and that's the national interest that we're talking about here today.
Well, I mean, does Mrs May have to pledge that she will not tolerate a no deal?
We think so. We think so. If you
Both
look,
of you.
It's clearly reckless. And, you know, this isn't a political game. This is about people's jobs, their livelihoods, their rights at work. These things matter to people. It shouldn't be something to use as a threat or to try and bully people into voting for a deal that is going down. Instead, we need to find a new deal that prioritises jobs and workers' rights.
This is sort of civil society calling now through you, I mean, to get the country back on track again.
Well, I think that what we have all been doing is we've been listening to what businesses have been saying, and I speak to so many now who've got plans in their bottom drawer for supply chains that move out of the UK, for factories that they will close. Those voices have to be heard now. That's why we're talking about emergency, and it is about leading from the front. That's why we've written to the Prime Minister herself. We think she can and must, over the next few days, change course and start bringing compromise in Parliament and lead the country out of this.
So, I mean, if we fall out next Friday, or not much later than that, what is the effect?
I don't think she'll be able to blame MPs for that. I think she's got a direct and personal responsibility. She's the elected Prime Minister of this country. A way forward could be found. We know that's possible. She's got to give MPs the opportunity to take those indicative votes, to try and craft a consensus and a compromise way forward that is a good deal for ordinary people.
We're not sure compromise is in her vocabulary.
But only 4% of businesses we've asked have said they're ready for no deal. It will be chaos, and it will be about people's jobs and lives.
And what do you make of what's going on in Brussels at the moment? I mean, they do seem extremely frustrated with this.
Well, I think that is enormously alarming, to hear the emotion in people's voices, to see the febrile atmosphere. I think that concerns business even more. And that's why we need the leadership that can cut through that and get us out of this mess.
Well, thank you both very, very warmly. It's very rare to have the CBI and the TUC in the studio at the one time, so thank you both.